Hi everyone. Um, I just showed some pictures of this completed Fun with 4 and 9 patch quilt that I had so much trouble with. If you remember, I had trouble finding the right set for them, and I decided just to get them all bigger and separate the blocks with sashing strips in between, which I liked when I put up. And then when I was sewing them, I found out this beautiful stripy fabric was weak, and so I had to reinforce it on the back with um, fusible interfacing, which meant that I had to use it as a wall piece. It couldn't be a bed quilt, and it couldn't be handbags. And then I was having trouble, and I have to say, of my own making with the tension on my machine, but I took it down, and my trusty repair guy figured it all out for me. So what I wanted to talk today about was something a lot of people are fascinated with, and that's the free motion couching. Now, when I first got my beautiful baby lock machine 7 years ago, the couching foot was like number 3 on my list of things that I wanted so much. I wanted a free motion couching foot, and other high-end machines came with them too. And it turns out that Baby Lock makes a generic one that'll go on any low shank machine, which is most machines. So if you want to try this, I think the foot's only about $40. But I have to tell you that I've been using this incorrectly. Baby Lock directions, I've always been really impressed with how complete the directions were, but did I read them carefully? No, I was missing some really important points about it that I'm going to show you today in a minute when I reset up my camera, um, so that you don't make the same mistakes when you're trying to free motion couch. Now, the setup for this, you can do this 2 different ways. If you're doing a bed quilt, you want to get your whole quilt basted and everything and do it all at once. But if you're doing an art piece, you can just do it on a, this I accidentally sewed into here. You can just do it on a backing, and the backing I recommended to me by my favorite teacher, Albert Cote, is it's a product that goes by a number of different names, but it's sold from machine embroiderers. It's half batting and half stabilizer. And I've demonstrated this in an earlier video that it's much more stable. It doesn't have as much bias stretch as regular batting does. So it helps you keep things nice and flat when you're tugging at your piece while you're working on it. So you can do your free motion quilting and all your hand quilting and your free motion couching on your piece. And then and I attach this, as Al suggests, with a little, I lay out the stable bat, which is Bosel's brand for this, and put little dots of Misty Fuse on here, and then fuse the quilt onto here so that it's nice and flat before I try stitching on it. And then I use Misty Fuse on the back of the piece, and then fuse that on so I have a solid piece to cover up all the hand or machine embroidery stuff on the back. So look for, and it'll be it's a product specifically for machine embroiderers, but it's of great value to us too. And I've got our block prepared to play on that way, so you can see where it's glued on with, well, it's somewhere in there. I must have missed. There's some of the Misty Fuse there, but on this side, see, it's just kind of tacked down to hold it nicely in place, so I don't have to try to work around pins. Okay, I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, so when I first started using this free motion foot, I thought the goal was to not put any tension on the yarn at all. So I would just kind of put it through this thing and this thing and let it go. Well, I just discovered reading the directions that you want a little bit of tension on the yarn. And as can be shown in Baby Lock's very carefully drawn directions, they show that the ball of yarn can be anywhere off here, and then you're going to wrap it around this pole, this thread thing, and through one of the eyes of the thread stand, and then down through the one at the top of the machine, and then this one, and then through the foot. So I ordered one of these thread stands. I had to go down and get it, but in the meantime, I'm using a thread stand, all that you can't see because I tried to. But anyway, I have a regular thread stand. So I'm mimicking this. I have the yarn on the floor and it's going up through my thing on my thread stand and then down through here. And I'm going to thread it for you as carefully as I can to show you this. So I'm going to unthread this now. So I have, let's see if I can change this so you could see it. I was so concerned about getting up close. Anyway, you saw the diagram. So I'm going to put it on the floor, and you do need the yarn does need to flow freely, and then down through here, and then through here. And you do want to test this first, because the real high end ones like Bernina's, well, it comes with all kinds of holes in the foot, so you could use really skinny yarn or really fat yarn. And this one, you got to be careful. Test your yarn first and make sure it's going to feed freely through here. And to do this, you need these, let's see if I can make sure you can see this, these needle flossers to thread the yarn through. And it's just really good to have these around for a lot of sewing tasks. So I'm going to put my yarn through here. Now, interestingly, this free motion couching foot uses a straight stitch. If you were couching yarn in the normal way, fairly straight, you'd use a narrow zigzag. Okay, so I've got the yarn through here, and then it goes through the center hole, and they suggest you use a piece of card or something to let you get the end of this thing out. So this is going to use a straight stitch and to nail the yarn down. So you do want to test it, not this yarn. Actually, I wanted it because it's black, but it splits really easily. So just do some testing to make sure you're going to get what you want. And then I've got my thing here. Oh, and I am a big fan of quilting gloves. And you can see mine are well used, but I just love the extra grip it gives your hands. I did buy some new ones, but so free motion couching, you need your tension and your machine set up well for just like you would for free motion quilting. But in free motion couching, you also have the tension of the yarn to worry about. So you're going to have to, periodically stop and make sure that your yarn is feeding freely from your skein and all that. And it's all a learning curve. So anyway, I'm going to find my foot down here and try not to knock the camera around. See if there's too much tension on the yarn. Oops. Oh, darn. My thread broke. All right. Let me stop for a second here and rethread. Hi, I'm back and rethreaded, and you could hear the frustration in my voice when that thread broke again, because I've been so frustrated just lately. And then I stopped and thought about what else could cause thread breakage. And I should know, because I've had this machine, well, I said 7 years, but I've actually just had the receipt out, and it was 6 years. And in machines like this, any machine, you have to make sure the bobbin area is clear of lint. So, which is a super easy thing to do. Oh, I was going to show that my machine is now stitching happily again, which I'll do here for just a second. So I've got to make sure I've got my yarn there. But anyway, she's sewing beautifully again after I went and cleaned out the bobbin area. And there was some lint in there because I'd quilted a quilt and stuff on this since I got it back from the shop. And so I had quilted more in here, and then I did a ton of couching on this piece, including over this difficult lace, and it all worked fine. So I just want to show you that when you're having thread trouble and you've rethreaded and checked your thread and put in a new needle and you're still having trouble, that it's super easy to clean out the bobbin area, either on this kind of machine with the horizontal bobbin or on the machine with the vertical, but I'll demonstrate it on this one. Because this machine is sunk in here, I have to lift this up to get this off. But all you have to do is take this off and take this off and take your bobbin out and snap this out. My machine doesn't like it when it's, oh, I'll leave it on. And then this comes out, and this is the area on my machine that gets full of lint. And oh, I've misplaced my little brush. But anyway, I took here's a big brush. You just take a brush and brush this area all out and make sure it's nice and clean. And on a vertical bobbin, it's the same procedure. Then this all goes back in. On these ones, you just have to align that little thing with this little dot here. Put this back in. So, I mean, it's such a simple, fast thing to do. I just think I need to schedule myself to just do this every other day when I'm sewing a lot. And then put this back on, and I'm ready for action again. So anyway, I hope you'll give free motion couching a try. And I did misspeak in the previous section. I said that Baby Lock makes a generic for low shank machines, and they might. I know that I've seen one for Janome that's about $40 that should go on any low shank machine. So give it a try. It's a really powerful tool. I don't remember if I said in the last one, it's couching, but it's also embroidery. Like I've embroidered feathers on birds and centers of flowers with really, I'm also knit and crochet, so I have a lot of fun yarn. So anyway, clean your machine, make sure it's nice and clean if you're having any trouble. And thanks for joining me. Bye.